For some reason, to me, it feels like it is about 6 in the morning, but it is in fact 9, and it's a Saturday, which means it's time for the Monster Magic Saturday Show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Yes, good morning. I am slowly waking up. Let me have a slurp of my tea. I'll try and cut any noise out. I hope you have a lovely cuppa on the go as well. It is a bank holiday once again here in England. I'm not saying that just to upset anyone in foreign parts. And it looks like fingers crossed. No, mustn't mention anything about the weather. Right, come on, let's get on with the first trick, and it is Princess Test by Eric Casey. You might know by the name that it is a take on the Princess card trick. You fan 5 cards to your participant and ask them to think of one. They then think of one, and without naming it, you then say you're going to remove one of their cards, and you put a card down on the table. They can even cover it with their hand. You then fan the cards again and say, is your card there? It has gone. It must be the card on the table. But when they turn over the card under their hand, that is indeed blank. Their card has completely vanished. It is very much the Princess card trick, tarted up beyond belief. Let me show you what you get. Now, the Princess card trick, historically wise, I've got no idea when it first came out. There have been so many versions of it. It is simply ridiculous. Even one by my acquaintance Mike Sullivan, and they were all really, really good. It isn't a difficult trick to do anyway. This makes it even easier somehow, perhaps appear cleaner. I'm not entirely sure. I've been trying to think of what the advantages are over this method, and it's a bit tricky really to sort of think of them. But what you get in here are these cards. There are more than 5 cards here, believe it or not. And the big worry for me is they're on red bicycle packs, by the way. But we'll come to that later. The big thing for me was that perhaps this packet might feel larger or look larger to your audience. Perhaps you might have to be careful about not showing the edges and so on, because there are actually quite a few cards here. But if you look, it's very hard. I mean, the illusion is perfect. It does look like 5 cards. I mean, there's no question there. And I think that adds to it. So the cleanliness of it adds to it. Plus you can see the whole faces of the cards. Should you wish to display all the faces, you can. Perhaps you might want to do that at the end as a convincer. I don't think it's necessary. This is the thing where I'm saying I'm not sure how much it's added, because the display is fairly similar. Normally the Princess card trick has some gaffed cards in it. These aren't gaffed as such, but just heavily treated. And what that means is that, yes, you can show all of the faces, but Eric runs through in the tutorial how you can make this up pretty much, really. If you wanted to use your own, if you wanted it in blue bicycle back, tally hos, cohorts, whatever it is, you could make this up into a deck that matches your favourite deck. The real advantage of that is if you wanted to switch them out with a regular deck you're going to do another card trick with at some point. I don't really think the switching out bit is terribly necessary, but for example, you could thumb these off the top of the deck, have matching faces on the bottom of the deck, and it'd be very easy just to switch the 2 packets whilst your audience are looking at the blank card and just being completely befuddled by the amazing trick they have just seen. Or of course, if you don't want to have a load of gaffed cards sitting in your deck whilst you're doing your next card trick, you can just use something like a good old Himba packet wallet, for example, and that way you can switch them very, very easily should your audience ask for them. I'm guessing if you're doing it for family and friends and they are a little bit grabby, that would be the best way to go. The tutorial is mainly by Eric Casey, and he runs through at the start the setup of the cards. If you've got his poker test or his POW, Perfect Oil and Water, you'll be very familiar with this concept. Thing is, don't mess with the cards before you've watched the tutorial. You don't want to get them out of order, or you might find it just a little bit frustrating, but the setup is far simpler than his previous two tricks, to be honest. And he runs through the handling, exactly how it works. The handling is just perfectly motivated, very straightforward. If you've got an opposing thumb and you can fan a deck of cards, you are absolutely golden, and you can do this trick. You then have some performances by Eric Tate, so you can see exactly how this plays as a standalone trick, and exactly what to say, really, if you are struggling with it. And then it's back to Eric Casey in the studio, and he runs through the timing of it, things not to do. You don't want to give your participants too much time staring at the cards. You know, they don't just want to find one quickly, stick with it and think of it. The act of putting their finger over it so that it does sort of feel like it's changed or it has vanished is a really, really good idea, not just if it's windy. And he runs through how to troubleshoot the setup should you find that you've got them misaligned somehow. Princess card trick is very, very strong. That's why it's been around for so long. This iteration of it is, quite frankly, one of the cleanest, easiest, practical princess card tricks I've ever seen, and I absolutely love the monster pink envelope the cards come in. That is the Princess Test by Eric Casey, just $19.99. Next up, it's Card to Anything by Axel Vergnaud. I hope I've said that surname correctly. My French is terribly, terribly poor. But this is not changing a card to anything, but changing all of the cards to anything. You show that you have a deck of cards, take them out of the box, so you put them back in the box, and with a wave of your hand or any magical gesture you like, you can turn it into a wooden block, some torn up cards, some sweets, anything really that will fit inside the card box. I think this is just a really good idea, and quite an obvious one now I've seen it. I'm not going to show you the actual gimmick, really. I don't want to give the game away too much, but it looks very much like a deck of cards. It doesn't have to be any particular deck of cards, though. As long as you're using poker-sized cards, you will be fine, because there is a smidgy bit of arts and crafts at the start, really just so you can customize it to your needs. And basically you just need two cards, a pair of scissors and some double stick tape. So put on your old Blue Peter hat and you'll be fine. I wish I could give away monster badges for people who've successfully done their arts and crafts. The 35-minute tutorial is now the traditional voiceover with just the hands that TCC are now doing, and that's really, really good. The voice does change a couple of times, which is quite funny, and also there's one point where he goes, "Pay attention," which made me laugh a lot, mainly because I had drifted off a little bit, but it is really, really super clear. It's 35 minutes long, and it runs through, but the first third of that at least is how to prepare the gimmick to what you want, and then it moves on to the handling and all of the possibilities, of which there are so many, but they do also include this lovely block of wood that fits inside the gimmick perfectly. So should you just want to change the whole deck of cards into a block of wood, they've provided this for you, which is pretty good considering the price of it. What you turn the card into, or the deck of cards into, is entirely up to you. I guess there is a bit of a thing where you have to actually take one card out of the deck. You put them all back in the box, and then you have to take one card out of the deck. So for me, that card, there needs to be some justification for taking that one card out. So if you were going to do, for example, have lots of have all the cards just turn into torn up pieces, then it makes a lot of sense to just take one card out and go, look, the other cards are sympathetic to this card. You tear this one up and you then tip out and show that all of the other cards have been torn up. I think that is just a lovely effect at the end. If you're going to turn it into things like sweets, something like that, I would tend to use that as a callback to something else that has gone on in the show. Perhaps do a card trick or whatever, at some point switch in this gimmick and then have it all turn into sweets. What your plot is, what your patter is for all of that, you'll have to come up with yourself. I mean, there's just too many things you could tip out of this box. The handling doesn't change much depending on what you put in it. In the tutorial, he talks a lot about finger placements, about where to put pressure to make sure it works exactly how you want, how to cover up anything, any mistakes you might make, angles. It is all covered, but really the handling itself is super simple, and it is obvious as long as you've got any understanding of Newton's universal law of gravitation, which although he claims it, of course, it is from a guy called Al Hatham, who came up with the idea of gravity back in around 990 AD. You can, of course, make it more complicated should you wish, with some deck switching in and out, if that suits your routine ideas. I think it has a lot of potential in many ways. The fact you've got to remove that one card bothers me just a little bit, because it does need to be justified in my mind. But otherwise, yep, you can produce pretty much anything. That is Card to Anything by Axel Vergnaud, $33.99. Next up, it's Elevated Matrix by Anthony Owen. This is actually, Anthony Owen was a terrific inventor of magic, not just card tricks. He really played with mentalism and everything as well. I had the pleasure of meeting him several times at the Magic Circle and sharing a pizza with him and things when we were on the same bill. Sadly, Anthony passed away in 2019. This was due to come out with Penguin around that time, I think. And I think a little bit out of respect, but also with COVID, its release has been delayed. It is actually from Anthony's book called Secrets, which is a wonderful book if you can get your hands on it. It's got lots and lots of exciting material in there. This is his take on the classic coin matrix, where you put 4 coins in a square and you hold 2 cards over the top of each coin, and the coins move from one corner to another corner until they all coalesce in one corner. It is very, very magic looking. With most matrices, I'm sure you're aware, the cards actually touch the coins, and your fingers, more importantly than the cards, I guess, go very close to the coins. With this, there's none of that. All of your fingers can be splayed. The cards are definitely not touching the coins. It's all sort of hovering above the table, and that really does lend an air of magic to it all. It's all done with a gimmick. Anthony explains how he came up with the idea of the gimmick, which is great because it was misreading a trick, and he sort of thought the effect was going to be the effect he eventually developed, but it turned out so. It is based, or he attributes it to Hi Ho by Jay Sankey and Ringing in the Gaff by David Ben, which is really kind of him, really, because it's different. I can't really show you the gimmick because, it'll just give the game away, won't it? So you get the gimmick, you get a little bit of something else as well, which is easily replaceable. You can get your hands on very easy. You've probably got some at home already, and you get 2 jokers. The jokers you get are coloured jokers, red bicycle. They can be any cards that you like. In fact, as Anthony points out in the tutorial, it doesn't have to be these cards. You can use beer mats, possibly business cards, anything you've got your hands on, really. The gimmick can be switched in and out for any of these things. You're not sort of in any way. Well, these cards get handed out at the end, so you're not tying them up in any way, if you see what I mean. So if you just carried the gimmick around with you, you could probably find something to do this trick with. The coins themselves, they just have to fit the gaff, so they can be quarters or 10p's. There's nothing special about them. They can be borrowed. They can in fact even be different, so don't worry about that either. I'm sure every nationality has a coin that will be absolutely fine and will work with this trick, and there's really very little skill involved either. The main skill, I suppose, is just acting, really, but really you've just got to do it. You would have sort of, I suppose with all magic tricks, acting is important, and it does add an extra layer of disguise and so on. So do it naturally, kind of think that you are making the coin float underneath or whatever you think you're doing. Just really make it play, and you'll be fine. Anthony's teaching is really clear, really concise. There's a small cleanup if you're going to give these cards out at the end, but it's very, very easy to do, and you are left, you can either ditch the gimmick or actually just hold it out. It's naturally very easy to keep this hidden in your hand. Actually, to make the explanation even clearer, pardon the pun, he uses transparent cards as well, so that you can see exactly what's going on. Again, it doesn't have to be coins either, so you could be done with beer mats and dice, anything really. It is super adaptable, but not only that, when the tutorial, Anthony is using his homemade version, so even if you don't have this on you, you can pretty much walk around a house and very quickly rustle up the gimmick. It won't look as nice as this one, obviously, but it should work. Despite its simplicity, I think it is a simply brilliant gimmick, and quite frankly, if you want to do the easiest, virtually self-working, skillless coin make tricks that is actually probably more magical than a lot of others, this is for you. You might have to be a little bit careful on which surface you use, but a little bit of experimentation and you'll know what to avoid. But I don't think that's a problem you're going to come up with very often. I'm actually just going to take the gimmick around over the weekend, really, and just see how much fun I can have doing it with all manner of things. That is Elevated Matrix by Anthony Owen, just $24.99. And now it's the moment you've all been waiting for. Yes, it is the prize draw, where you could win every trick that I mentioned in the show last week. Thank you so much, all of you who donated to St Mungo's, and actually, thank you everyone who watched the show, to be honest. But you guys raised over £300, and I think even given the the gift aid that's included, it's very close to £400. So just well done to everybody. Thank you so much for your generosity. Thank you so much for taking the time and effort. And yeah, I think you all deserve to win. I wish I could make that possible. Maybe one time I can. But come on, here we go. Let's see who has won. Here we go. The winner is Martin Circus Workshop. Please, Martin, get in touch. I will send you all of your prizes, and thank you and everybody else for raising so much money for charity. Thank you. And finally, it is Cloak by Chris Rawlins. Now, I have to admit that Chris is a good acquaintance of mine. I do know him. We actually talked about this on my Blackpool walk around, where I think he demonstrates it as well. So you can take whatever I say with a pinch of salt. To be honest, if Chris produced something that I didn't like, I just wouldn't review it properly rather than give it a harsh review. So you must know I like it a little bit because I'm talking about it. And this is Chris's take on the switching box, a very popular tool for mentalists. Basically, you've got this sort of IKEA style drawer divider tidy, into which lots of people can put billets or their predictions in, or whatever they're thinking of, into there. You give it a good shake, and whatever you pull out has been forced. Now, a good switching device for a mentalist, certainly the professional, is really the holy grail, and there have been lots and lots of attempts at it. For a long time it was a maze box by Mark Shortland, which is amazing. It is very well named. It's a bit of a hassle to transport though, although very clever and very clean. There's also the TBC box by Luca Volpe, which looks very similar to this. This is by far, to me, the cleanest, most fooling, most elegant, most natural. It is, I think, Chris has actually hit the holy grail here. I'm not just saying that. I think this is mine. This is mine. I'm taking it. I've got no reason why for it, actually. At the moment I don't do very many shows, but I'm keeping it because I just think there's just so much that may crop up. So let me show you what you get. What you get in here, you get this lovely hard case, all custom made. You get an instruction PDF in here. It also comes with video instructions as well. This case is specially designed, by the way, and you also get the box itself, Cloak, which now this isn't fully loaded, but you can carry it fully loaded just like this. Just open it up on stage, zip it shut, and that is it. That is your Cloak fully loaded, ready to go. It looks absolutely perfect. It is specially designed. This isn't just an adapted drawer divider. It looks that good. It looks that clean that I can forgive you for thinking of it. Now, there are several things to note about this, is that because of the shape of it, you can see that it can't have a traditional method for the switch going on here. Basically, that is it. So because of the height of the sides, that's what I'm getting at here, is the proportions of it is it's far wider and longer than it is high, which makes it very deceptive. It also makes it easier to show that you've got billets inside the box. You don't have to reach so far in. This all just adds to the illusion of it being perfectly normal and 100% fair. And what is absolutely beautiful about this is that the switching happens in your motion of just shaking them up and mixing them up. That is it. You mix them up and you've switched them. How brilliant is that? It's absolutely great. But on top of that, there are other ways of doing it. So Chris calls it layering. Essentially, you can do it with not switching the billets at all. You can reach in, pick out a false billet, and still have all of the genuine billets in here. So that way, if anyone wants to check it, or if you want to show that they are all still different and you haven't done anything, you can. And there's also even a third way of grabbing your prediction billets as well, without changing anything. So you can reset it very quickly. You can use it for multiple things. You can force more than one thing with this, because you've got so many options as to how exactly you do it. And then, as Chris says, you can use it to just put your props in during the show, so it's got an extra use as well. You can even have fun of putting your props in it and tipping it out just to use it as if you've forgotten your usual thing. It is amazing. It is made of, I don't know, I can't remember, Chris calls it taffeta nylon or something. It is really strong. It will last you forever. This case, Chris has specifically designed really selfishly for his own use, because he pretty much carries his whole show in here. So the instruction booklet and actually the tutorial by Chris does contain some really good routines in it. There's a great card at any number you can do with this, and so on. You know, any mentalist is going to know what they're going to be doing with it. I'm not going to bore you, but here Chris uses this to carry around the billets that he uses. It doesn't have to be any specific billets at all. There's no refills needed. Chris gets his chosen ones from Amazon. He tells you exactly what they are, but you can use business cards. You can use double blank playing cards if you like. It's really smart. So here he can keep some pencils, some pens, the billets, anything else you might use in your act. So it's really nice. As I say, this, you can transport this fully loaded. You just open it up on stage and it's ready to go. And depending on how you've used it, you may have to do absolutely nothing to reset it. You can just simply at the end of your show unzip it, fold it up, pop it back in the case, and off you go. It is so well thought out, it is bonkers. And what I really admire about Chris's stuff is that he absolutely invests in it. He wanted this to be absolutely the best thing it can, and it is. That means it's come at a cost to him to produce, and sadly that cost does have to be passed on to you a little bit. The teaching that Chris gives is just full of tips, handling ideas. He really wants you to get the most out of this, and really use it as much as possible. I think this is one of the most practical things any mentalist performer can buy right now. For me, it is absolutely phenomenal. That is Cloak by Chris Rawlins. £200 on the nose.
This show is awful, terrible, disgusting. See you next week, of course.
And that's it for this week's show, I'm afraid. I hope you've enjoyed it. Obviously, please do subscribe if you don't already. But come on, it is a bank holiday weekend. You've got 3 days. I hope you've got some lovely plans. I hope you're meeting friends and really enjoying yourselves. But come on, let's grab some magic. Let's go out there and have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.